This is a motion about freedom of speech, a topic that is usually dominated by some of the most boring, tiresome conservatives who say things like, you can't say anything these days, or complain about that spectre that haunts them, the spectre of cancel culture. Now, we know that right-wingers are completely unserious in their support for freedom of expression. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been the ones to orchestrate the authoritarian anti-protest bill, the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Act of 2022, and the ridiculously hefty sentencing for climate activists recently. What they are keen on is freedom of speech that they agree with. In February this year, Arts Council England, a supposedly arm's-length funding body for arts organisations and individuals in England, issued guidance warning against, and I quote, activity that might be considered to be overtly political or activist. They stated that activity considered to be overtly political or activist could lead to reputational risk and see funding taken away. This shocking attack on artists' ability to critique institutions of power caused great concern for our members. And Equity acted immediately to challenge this guidance, asking Arts Council England whether Tory ministers had interfered with a body that is supposed to be independent of government, and whether this was specifically in reference to Israel-Gaza. Arts Council England denied this was guidance directly from government in relation to Israel-Gaza, and so Equity, smelling a rat, submitted a Freedom of Information request, which then revealed that, just as we suspected, at a meeting between Arts Council England and Tory ministers in December 2023, there was a particular agenda item titled Reputational Risk Relating to Israel-Gaza Conflict. So this was an attempt at overt censorship by those valueless, free speech-hating hypocrites in the Tory party. And thank God they're gone. Oh my God. Arts Council England's decision have clearly been subject to pressure from Westminster, and this is deeply troubling for artistic freedom and expression. This, alongside the deplatforming of work by Palestinian artists over the last 11 months, shows that maybe what those conservatives meant was not criticism, but an instruction, that unless you toe their reactionary line, you can't say anything these days. With their attacks on civil liberties, trade union activities, and now attempts at explicit censorship, conservatives have proved that if there is any such thing as cancel culture, it is their attempt to cancel the ability of culture to challenge vested interests. After decades of neoliberalism and funding cuts, the Tories wanted more. They not only wanted to slash our public culture budgets to ribbons, they also wanted to define what we were or were not allowed to talk about in the culture sector. What we can say is already severely limited by the fact that there is so little funding. Arts Council England's total budget for the country of England is, according to recent reports, less than the City of Berlin's culture budget. The City of Berlin spends more on culture than Arts Council England. It's just wild. And these cuts have contributed directly to threats of worsening conditions and job losses at, as we heard from Matt Rack just then, the Welsh National Opera. Management is trying to force through a 15% pay cut and compulsory redundancies, but our members have now voted to strike starting on the 21st of September and called on management to come to the table to negotiate. This is unprecedented for the WNO chorus, but shows the severity of the situation for arts workers right now. We demand for arts councils across the nations to ensure that we can have good, unionised, secure and stable work. But we won't wait around for that. It is our movement that protects our arts workers from cuts and censorship. And both will be met with mighty resistance. Trade unions should be leading the conversation of freedom of expression, and we should never let those frauds in the Conservative Party get away with claiming to be champions of free speech. They're phonies. Now, the Labour Party, now in government, must show that they are substantively different. We have to see a commitment to reform the Arts Council to restore its independence and funding. Bless you. Without the freedom to criticise our institutions, we will not be able to create art that is essential for a fair and free society. Congress, please support the motion. Thank you.